Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Unfortunately, given time considerations, the IRS was unable to prepare written testimony.
I was Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service from March 2008 till November 2012. And during that time, the agency was called upon to tackle a number of challenges. The agency played a key role in stimulus and recovery efforts during the economic downturn, aggressively addressed offshore tax evasion, and completed a major modernization of its core technology database. The agency also continued to deliver on its core mission of collecting the revenue to fund the government. The IRS is a major operation with more than 90,000 employees who work on issues ranging from processing individual tax returns to building complex technology, to ensuring compliance with businesses, to educating the public about tax law changes, to administering a very complex set of rules governing tax-exempt organizations. I have recently read the Treasury Inspector General's report. I was dismayed and I was saddened to read the Inspector General's conclusions that actions had been taken creating the appearance that the service was not acting as it should have.
It's my understanding that the IRS headquarters shut down the use of political terms such as Tea Party and other terms we've all learned about in June of 2011. That's when headquarters shut that down. Why weren't people then fired or transferred, action taken?
Sorry. I don't believe that that I was aware at the time that that had happened.
Yeah, in June of 2011, I don't believe I was aware of this, actually.
Well, who was aware? Somebody at headquarters was aware, obviously, but besides Lois Lerner.
Well, the report indicates that exempt organizations knew. There's no indication, I think, from the report, and you'd have to ask the Inspector General that others knew at this time.
Who did know? I mean, come on, you've read the report. Miller?
Again, sir, all I can say is we were unaware. I was unaware, I believe, at the time that it had happened. When I found out in May, I took action.
What happened in Cincinnati? What conditions caused that? Because my time's expiring here. It already has expired, frankly. If you could just very quickly, in a nutshell, bottom line, how did this happen?
Mr. Chairman, I can't say that I know that answer.
Well,
I'm 6 months out of...
You got some sense of the outfit. You're a commissioner for a good number of years. You've got some idea. You've thought about this.
I'm 6 months out of office. What I knew sometime in the spring of 2012 was that there was a list. It was being used. Knew that the word Tea Party was on the list. Didn't know what other words were on the list. Didn't know the scope and severity of this. Didn't know if groups that were pulled in were groups that would have been pulled in anyway.
But you knew
and I took what I thought at the time, and I think now, was the proper step when a concern is brought to the Commissioner of Internal Revenue Service, which is to make sure that the matter is being looked at by the Inspector General.
About this, with a number of senators on those letters, and you should have corrected the record, and you should have done it long before today. Mr. George stated that he briefed you on May 3rd, 2012 about TIGTA's audit, so we know you were aware of it at the time that you responded to my second letter, if not both letters. But you didn't mention any of this in your responses to me, to the Senate, or to any other congressional body.
I answered the questions. I answered them truthfully. Did I know about the list? Yes. Not on the first letter, by the way, because the timing, I wouldn't have known for that. On the second letter, we answered those questions, sir.
Doesn't the IRS have a policy of not commenting on issues subject to an Inspector General Tax Administration audit prior to the public release of the audit? And if so, why did the IRS feel it was so necessary to make such statements days before the report was publicly released?
We thought mistakenly that we should get in front and apologize, and that was and reach out to the Hill in advance of it coming out. And that was wrong. We made a mistake.
I'll look back at the testimony. I thought that you were not aware of the disciplinary action. At any rate, David of Casper, Wyoming, posted on Facebook that he'd like to know why the IRS shared information from Tea Party groups with the liberal media group ProPublica. Does anybody have an answer to that?
So I would recommend, and I don't know whether Mr. George can speak to this, but there were in the media discussions of the release of some data to ProPublica. A referral was made to TIGTA on that out of our offices, and at this point, I think Mr. George knows that better than I.
All I can say is that, you know, this is a very hard task given to the IRS.
3 years since Citizens United, we'd have 2 federal elections, tens of millions of dollars, state after state after state has been spent by 501c4s. How long do we wait until the IRS from Washington, not blaming it on Cincinnati, but from Washington, how long do we wait?
That's a question that you'll have to ask my successor, sir.
That was, there were no discussions between the IRS and the Treasury that you're aware of.
Let me clarify. I think everybody knew that it was very difficult to administer the C4 laws. And so I don't have any memory of it, but there very well could have been conversations about policy, the policy matters that members of this committee have talked about. In the spring, when I found out about a list that was being used to help place these applications into the determinations unit, what I knew was there was a list. I did know that Tea Party was on it. I didn't know what else was on the list. I had a partial set of facts, and I knew that the Inspector General was going to be looking into it.
Change.
So you've got attorneys that are involved in a discussion about the practice that the EO is conducting on how they process applications, C4 applications, and that would not have been something that was raised to the level of commissioner?
Well, let me start by saying I didn't know that until I read the report.
Mr. Miller, let me just ask you, has this practice stopped?
What practice, sir?